right, friends, we are live in Huntington. It's a bit of a, I don't call it drizzly. What would you call it, Mike? Overcast, hot and humid, but it is what it is. And it is Shabbat. Doesn't matter what kind of weather it is Shabbat. And let's begin or continue on page 9. Page 9. And we'll do responsive reading. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. There are days when we act as if we care nothing for the rights of others.
On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty in a better world.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Page 20 and 21, Lecha Dodi, coming to us from the holy city of Sfat in the north of Israel. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamov zachor b'dibur echad, Ishme'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, L'shemol tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, Ki mekor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem lezucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshava techila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Mikdah hashmelech yemelucha, Kumitzei mitoch hafecha, Rav lach shevet v'yemecha b'cha, V'hu yachamol alaychem la, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Itnori me'afar kumi, Livshi bigdei tifartei chami, Al yad ben ish Al yad ben ishai beit halachmi, Korva el nafshi ge'ala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Itorri, Ki va'orek kumihi ori, Shir da'eri, Kivod Adonai alaych nigla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lo tevoshi v'lo tikomi, Ma tishtochachi ma tehemi, V'achyechesu aliyeh ami, B'ni hivneta'ir al tila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Tashim sa shosayich, V'rachaku kol mevalayich, Yasis alayich Elohayich, Ki himsos chatan al kala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai taharitzi, Al yadish ben partzi, B'ni hismecha v'nagila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Vo'i v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'sohola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekapilah. There are those who say the moment Shabbat candles are lit, Shabbat begins. But for some of the Mekubalim, some of the Kabbalists, it's not until the Shabbos bride joins us at the end of Lecha Dodi that Shabbat actually begins. Page 22, let's read the top paragraph together in English. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High. To proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Sadikat hamar yifra. Ke'erez balvanon yiskeh shetuli beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu o jinuvu b'seva Deshenim vera'ananim ihiyu lehagi ki yashar Adonai zuri velo aflatavo. Page 24. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 146, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Borach Le'olam Va'ed. We're on page 147. Let's read together in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMevorach, HaMa'ariv, Aravim. Page 148, let's read responsively in the English. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At the moment we are addressed by the world.
In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth.
In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before, and each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
And
Each age, children before become builders, and seek to set the world firm on the foundation of truth.
ואהבתך אל תשים ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוקתך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 151, let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness is so grasp that such imperfection may be without.
Before our eyes, there's a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There's evil enough to break the heart, good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone and claim to ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned that presence is time and then, so celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilot, ohosefele, malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. ונאמר כי יפאד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מהחזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Top of 153, the top two lines, Ashkivenu. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. And together in the English, give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of 154. It's not Shabbat without it. Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית העולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. ויום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. Page 155 and following, the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor B'Hanurah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot Imahot, U'mevii Goel Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Meitim Atarav L'Hoshia, Morid HaTahal, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechaye Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayeh Emunato Rishenei Afar, Michamocha B'Givuro, Umidom Melach, Melech Mimito Mechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'metim. Let's jump to 160, page 160, and let's read this paragraph together in the English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 163, let's read responsively, a little bit of hoda'ah, a little bit of thanksgiving for all the blessings that this week has given us. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve our hearts and our
For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony,
all
praise is source to be.
And we'll close out the Amidah, as always, with a prayer for peace. In the evening, it's Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Liolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Liolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Liolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Mitzihim Liolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a v'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Liolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Liolam. Tasim Liolam. Tasim Liolam. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, amivarech et amo Yisrael. Shalom. Jump ahead to 253, one of the many blessings that we have for health and healing. Like I said, it's not enough just to recite this. You have to actually go and do something when you ask God for a blessing. So reach out to the people, send them a note, a card, visit them, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Right now, middle of page 253, Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishem Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community. David, how about the prayer for our congregation?
Source of all being. May the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and the support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction. May we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, Shotecha levacha b'yirah na'avod. Elizabeth, how about the prayer for our country?
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and to untie the cords of lawlessness, and to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing. Do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu Hovayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabashmaim, Sur Yisrael v'Golo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Gulatenu. Again Aleha b'Yafrach Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha v'Amitecha l'Rasheha, Sargeha v'Yotzeha. V'Takneim be'etzah Tova milfanecha, V'Natata Shalom ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam liYoshveha, V'Nomar Amen. Maybe you want to do the English for that, please?
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel with mark the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, folks. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
This week, it's Parshat Naso. It's Parshat Naso. It is one of my favorite parshiot, not necessarily because of what it contains, but almost 30 years ago, I did my first bar mitzvah, soup to nuts. Took a young man who didn't know Hebrew and took him all the way through the service, the Torah reading, the Haftarah. Had some help with the Torah reading and the Haftarah. My friend, Rabbi Avi Lipman, well, he was just Avi back then. He and I tag teamed on that. The young man's name was Jamie, and up until Max, it was my favorite bar mitzvah of all time because Jamie worked so hard. And like Max, Jamie was, Jamie is very, very intelligent. He's got a family now, and I'm gonna have to call him next week to see if he feels old, because it's almost 30 years since he became bar mitzvah. But Parshat Naso is also a fun parsha. It is the longest parsha in the entire Torah. It is comprised of 176 verses, 176. And so if you're at a synagogue, a traditional synagogue, and they read this portion, bring some popcorn. And it contains the longest chapter in the entire Torah, chapter 7, which weighs in at a hefty 89 verses. So, yeah.
That's a lot of chanting.
That's a lot of chanting. That's a lot of studying. It concludes the census. This week we conclude the census that we started last week. The Gershonites, ages 30 to 50, and they're going to carry the sanctuary coverings and hangings, cords and accessories, and the altar. Itamar, the son of Aharon, one of Aharon's 4 sons, Itamar, he's going to supervise this undertaking. And there are 2,630 Gershonites. Then we count the Merarites between the ages of 30 and 50. They carry the planks, the bars, the posts, the sockets, the pegs, the cords. Everybody has a job. And they number at 3,200. The Kohatites, which we heard about last week, they transport the parts of the sanctuary. They don't disassemble or assemble. They just gather them up and take them from place to place. They number 2,750. For the total number of Levites, these are going to be the schleppers, right? They're the carriers of this Mishkan. They number 8,580. Once we get past those numbers, we get to the brass tacks, right? Anyone who has an oozing open sore or has touched a corpse, they have to leave the camp, right? There's something about touching a corpse and getting what's called tumah, of getting this idea of uncleanliness. And if you have an oozing open sore, we've talked a lot about that in our Talmud class. And so there's the ick factor to that as well. If a person wrongs another, right? If you do something, if you say something, if you hurt a person physically, you have to confess and offer up restitution. And the confession isn't, oh, no, the confession is you go up to them and tell them you're sorry. And if they don't accept it, you go back until they do accept it. Because sometimes you can do something that is so heinous to a person that they don't want to forgive you right away. If you steal property, you have to return its worth plus 20%. So if Mike comes out and steals, I don't know, Albert, our blind beagle, not only does he have to give us full restitution for Albert, but he has to add on 20% of another beagle just to make it right. And if the owner is dead, right, you steal something from a person and they subsequently die before you can make restitution, you offer the restitution, you pay for it along with the ram sacrifice, which is extra, and you give that to the sanctuary priest who is on duty at that time. Then we jump to a ritual that is seen kind of as, if you read the Torah a certain way, you might say it is misogynistic. It's the ritual of the sota. And this is a woman who is a wife whose husband accuses her of adultery. And there are no witnesses, which is problematic. Because if you're going to accuse someone of adultery, which carries the death penalty, you have to have witnesses. Anytime you accuse someone of something that heinous, you need witnesses. But the rabbis say, or the Torah says, no, even though there are no witnesses, she has to drink the waters of bitterness. And they come up with this concoction of water, oil, and ashes from the meal offering. And the woman drinks them. If she falls into a trance, now what that means is it's unclear. But if she gets, if she passes out, if she, I don't know, she's guilty. But if there's no trance, she's not guilty. And in fact, she's declared innocent. Now, I know that people will get upset about this, but the idea is in every other culture, if a woman would be accused of adultery, she's taken out and stoned immediately. There's no ritual. There's no, well, maybe he was wrong. No, the husband declares her an adulterer, and she's taken out and immediately murdered.
And the man?
He gets another woman. He gets another wife.
You mean the person that
No,
she was
the-
committing adultery with?
Yeah, the person she was supposedly committing adultery.
If she
So
was,
they find them.
if they can find him. A man can have one woman. I mean, a woman can have one man. A man could have as many women as he could sustain financially. All right, but once a woman is married or betrothed, she's off limits. So if she is in fact committing adultery, the man with whom she's committing adultery is also guilty and would be executed. But this is a case where the husband just accuses her because, I don't know, she said no to him, she burned his dinner, I don't know. But he accuses her of being an adulteress, and the Torah says, well, we're going to make her undergo this ritual. I would imagine that no one ever fell into a trance. I would imagine that no one ever was then taken out and stoned, because I think the ritual was just to appease the husband, that he was heard, because it is, after all, a patriarchal society. But she gets to go on and she gets to live, and ostensibly or seemingly without the husband.
And you have to think, like you said, about the relevance in context. It's very progressive to not immediately take her out in that part of the world, to not immediately take her out and just kill her because the husband says so.
There's also a ritual explained in the Talmud that if a man marries a woman and he thinks he's marrying a virgin, and it turns out that she's not a virgin, and to prove it, that they sit her naked on an open wine cask, an uncorked wine cask, and they have her breathe out. And the idea is that if she is not a virgin, they will smell the wine, because there'd be nothing blocking from that part of the body going out of her mouth. Now, you could all clutch your pearls on that and say, oh, that's the meaning to the women. Do you know how many women the rabbis actually thought that they would catch with that? 0. The rabbis knew human anatomy well enough that if you sat on something, that smell wasn't going to come up from that part of your body and out your mouth. They did it just to appease the person who was complaining and saying, oh yeah, well, we couldn't smell any wine on her, so she must be a virgin. And again, in other cultures in the Middle East, accusing your bride of not being a virgin was a quick way of getting her executed.
Yeah.
And so at least the rabbis, for as problematic as some people want to find the rabbis, they're more progressive than, I think they're more progressive than we are sometimes. They're more progressive than we are sometimes. And then we get the Nazirite vow. The Nazir, he takes a vow. It's a short-term vow, and you want something. You want God to give you something. You want to earn God's favor. So you promise not to cut your hair. You take no wine or intoxicants, and you do not touch a corpse. And it's for a period of time. The Haftarah tomorrow will be the story of the most famous Nazirite in the Bible, Shimshon, Samson.
Women could be a Nazarite.
Women could be Nazirites, yeah. There was nothing, a woman just couldn't cut her hair, take no wine or intoxicants, and not touch corpses. And then the Torah portion ends with the Kohanic blessing. It is a blessing, it is not a prayer. The Torah makes it very, very clear that the Kohanic blessing is a blessing and it's not a prayer. Even though, some of the translations can be seen as, oh, it's a prayer, we're asking for God to bless, and it's not a prayer. It is a blessing. It is something that the Kohanim and then later Jewish religious officials will use that to bring God's favor upon individuals. And then at the end, Moshe consecrates the sanctuary, and that's a place where Moshe can encounter God's presence. For as long as the Parsha is, with its 176 verses, there are only 18 mitzvot. There are 7 do's and 11 don'ts. And that is your Torah portion in a nutshell.
So thousands of people assigned to carry the stuff.
Yeah.
Did it have that many parts?
Well, I mean, you had, I would say, yeah, because and you wanted to make sure, because they had dowels and little connectors. They wanted to make sure that every part was accounted for, and to make sure that everybody felt part of it. Everybody felt part of it. Right? I can imagine there's some macher from some Levitical family. This is beneath me. My parents gave so much money, and I shouldn't have to do this. And I could imagine Moshe or Aharon saying, yeah, there are no small parts, only small levi'im. Right? There are no small parts, only small actors, as they say. But, the one who carries that one dowel, if it's missing, the Mishkan is incomplete.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Kiddush. Vayhi erev vayhi boker yom hashishi vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa. Vayishboth bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto. Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava ratzon inchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh. Zecher Letziat Mitzrayim, Ivanu Lacharta, V'otanu Kidashta, Mikol Ha'amim, V'shabbat Kodshecha, V'ahava Uvratzon, Inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat. Please turn to page 282 as we begin concluding our service with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei kedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo hosamanu k'mishpachot hadama, shelo samachenu kahen, v'koralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech, Malchei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz, Umoshe b'yikaro b'shamayim imahal, Ushlinatu zo, B'godei meromi, U Eloheinu Eidov, Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato, Kagatu B'Torato, V'yadata Hayom V'Hashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, V'Shamayim Imal, V'Al Haaretz, Mitachat Eidod. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emor, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yihyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We're continuing to observe Shloshim from Maxine Frankel. This week we observed the following yard sites. Edith Feder Gamoren, sister of Herman, Simon, Henry, and Noah Feder. Rebecca Eisenberg, Mary Cantor's sister. Julia Netchin, mother of Max, Sydney, Herbert, and Muriel. Dr. Herman Poland, relative of Ronald Poland. Lee Selleck, Maxine Yeaget's sister. Marion Cohen, Bernard Smith's relative. Ida Gerber, Joan Rose's mother. Lori Gottlieb, Jack and Gail's daughter. Linda and Jody's sister. Elizabeth Murphy, Scott's grandmother. Esther Mussman, Herman Glazer's aunt. Bernice M. Kincaid, Sam's mother. Adolph D. Bro, father of Bob. Jenny Bro's father-in-law. Gertrude Mazo-Kirsch, related to Steve and Paul Jacobson. Ronnie Casson, Martin's wife. And Carl Fantel, Evelyn Wiles' relative. Jane Schoenfeld Altman, sister of Tony Miller and daughter of Ike and Francis. David Ritter, Rosemarie's husband, Susan and Bob's father. Ben Botnick, Jan Chertow's father. Edward Greenwald, Diane Shuttle's uncle. Hyman Cohen. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they all rest in peace.
Amen.
Page 294, Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Kadal, V'yit Kadash, Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma Tivrach Hirutei, V'yamlik Malchutei. V'chayechon, V'yomechon, Uv'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael. V'agalah, V'yizman Kariv, V'yimru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Li'olam Olamei Almaya. V'yitparach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudusha, Brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiram v'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. You may be seated. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos, everyone.
Shalom.
Just a couple of quick announcements. Services tomorrow at 10 a.m. At 9:15, there'll be a Torah study. This one is without food. You got to be able to come and show coming once that you can't say that it's for the food. So you come and learn some Torah. You get some sustenance from the Torah. That's tomorrow at 9:15 before services. Then services at 10, Sunday morning at 9. And then Sunday afternoon at 1 is our Hebrew class. And then at 2, it's our Siddur class. And I think we're going to be looking at Aleinu. Aleinu. It's an interesting prayer. And some of the translations of that prayer, you didn't want your non-Jewish neighbors to read the translations because they weren't nice. They weren't very nice. And we're talking about Reform and conservative translations. We're not talking Orthodox translations. We're talking Reform and conservative translations. And so that will be Sunday at 2. And I think that's it for the week. I don't think there are any meetings, not that I'm aware of. And so no holidays, no observances until Tisha B'Av. And that's in the middle, towards the end of August this year. So got some smooth sailing between now and then. Well, we don't have, it came back on. Okay, it was off, now it's back on. All right, let's close out with 321, Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa B'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, V'hu haya, v'hu hoveh, v'hu yihye b'tifara, v'hu echad v'ein sheni, l'hamshilo l'hachbira, v'li reshit v'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'hu eli v'chai goali, v'tzur chevli v'yetzara, v'hu nisi umanosli, Menat kosi biomekra biado avki ruchi v'etishan v'ayira v'imruchi gviati Adonai li v'lo ira. Let's see if there's anybody who said hello tonight on the intertubes. I just noticed that it came back on. It disconnected and now came back on. And let's see here. And apparently it's telling me there are 15 outdated drivers, and I have no idea what that means. Guess it means they don't have their license. Oh, there are a ton of people. We have Donna Wilson saying Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Thank you, Donna. Same to you. There's Mom and Cliff. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbis Mom and Cliff. There's Judith from Wagon Wheel. Shabbat Shalom from Galila County. That's not what she wrote. It's Gallia.
I'll have to talk to her.
Gallia County. I went through this before. Gallia County. I went through it. Whenever I see Judith saying Shabbat Shalom, it's just Wagon Wheel. That's what my grandmother used to say when English was her second language. And when she came upon a word she didn't know or couldn't pronounce, it was always Wagon Wheel. There's Judy Lundy. Tada, Rabbi. Trust all will enjoy a peaceful Shabbat. Thank you, Judy. Same to you. Please keep Israel in your thoughts and prayers. Amen to that. David Johnson says Shabbat Shalom. All right, friends. Not too much going on this weekend, but enough. So I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbos, and please, please be careful out there.
Good job, everybody. Nice to see you.